Simulation theory is a topic that fascinates almost everyone. However, very few people dive into the experiments or physical constraints behind it. The idea that our universe could be a computer simulation has been debated in the scientific community for nearly 40 years. But it gained major traction after philosopher Nick Bostrom published his now famous paper in 2003. Before that, movies like The 13th Floor and The Matrix brought this concept into pop culture. Everyone loves to talk about it, but the conversation often hits a wall when someone asks, what experimental evidence do we have? Or, is there even enough energy in the universe to simulate itself? And if there's an old-school physicist in the room, the discussion usually ends with a firm, it's not falsifiable, so it's not science. At this very point, Dr. Franco Vazza, an astrophysicist from Bologna, appears to be one of the few actually putting his neck on the line. While much of the scientific community has dismissed the topic as untestable and thus outside the realm of science, Dr. Vazza is doing the opposite. He's trying to test the simulation hypothesis using the laws of physics we know. That makes his work a bold move in scientific terms. His investigation starts from a strikingly fundamental question. Is there enough energy within our universe to simulate itself? In essence, he argues that the simulation hypothesis inherently aligns with a digital physics perspective. Information, for computers, is a physical entity. Simulating something in a digital system requires energy, time, and processing power. And crucially, these resources are limited by the physical laws we currently understand. So, the fundamental question is this. Is it truly possible to simulate our universe, or is it physically impossible? To find the answer, we must consider the limits of both information and energy. And that's actually a very reasonable approach. Because if, after all these years of debate, the idea turns out to be physically impossible, if even the entire energy of the universe is not enough to run such a simulation, then the hypothesis will be falsified from the very beginning. To test the simulation hypothesis, the author begins with a basic question. How much information in bits and how much energy would be required to simulate a system like Earth or even the entire universe on a computer? In searching for this answer, his first tool is what's known as the holographic principle. According to this principle, all the physical information contained in an object or a region is limited not by its volume, but by its surface area. In other words, no matter how much matter or energy you place inside a given space, its information capacity depends only on its boundary. This may sound strange at first, but the idea is built on solid foundations, namely black holes. The work of Stephen Hawking and Jacob Bekenstein showed that the entropy, or information content, of a black hole is proportional not to its volume, but to the area of its event horizon. It's a result that defies classical intuition, but aligns powerfully with quantum gravity. This is the core of the holographic principle. The entire physical state of a region behaves as if it's written onto its boundary. And this, in turn, explains why the author bases his calculations for the total information content of a universe solely on its surface area. Here's the essence. If you reduce the dimensionality of a system, that is, represent something three-dimensional using a two-dimensional surface, you can still store all of that system's information on the surface. To estimate how much information is required for a simulation, the author uses a second foundational concept, the Planck area. In physics, when measuring how much information something can carry, the Planck area, the smallest meaningful unit of surface in nature, is used as the base. This area, approximately 2.59 times 10 to the minus 66 square centimeters, can store exactly 1 bit of information. So, whether it's an object or the entire universe, to calculate its total information, you divide its surface area by the size of a single Planck unit. Planck length, likewise, is considered the smallest meaningful distance in nature. This boundary arises because this scale uniquely involves both quantum physics and gravity. Of course, we can define distances smaller than the Planck length in theory, but when we attempt to physically measure them, we encounter serious problems. That's because measuring something means compressing it into a smaller space. But if we compress it below the Planck scale, the energy density increases so dramatically that it tears the fabric of space-time itself, and a black hole forms. That's why the smallest measurable limit in nature is the Planck length, and its corresponding surface area holds exactly 1 bit of information. After calculating the total information in the universe, the physicist then asks a new question. How much energy would be needed to process this information? Because simulating a system doesn't end with storing its data. That data must also be processed, computations must be run, and decisions must be made. And all of these operations consume physical energy. This is where Landauer's principle comes into play. According to this principle, every time one bit of information is erased, like resetting a value in memory, a specific amount of energy is required. And this energy depends directly on the temperature of the environment. In short, the hotter the system, the more energy it takes to process each bit. This tells us that the cost of simulating a system depends not only on the amount of information involved, but also on the computational power and environmental conditions needed. That's why, when we think not just about simulating a single planet, but the entire universe, we face not only storage limitations, but also severe energy constraints. At this point, the physicist asks a fundamental question. How much total information does our universe contain? In other words, if our universe were a computer simulation, how many bits would be required to represent every detail of it? To answer this, we first use the observable radius of the universe, approximately 14.3 billion parsecs, or about 4.4710 to the 31 centimeters. The basic assumption here is that the observable universe is a giant sphere expanding equally in all directions. With this assumption, we follow the holographic principle. We calculate the surface area of that sphere and divide it by the Planck area, the smallest meaningful surface in nature. The result tells us how many bits of information are required. After performing this calculation, the scientist concludes that it would take roughly 3.510 to the 124 bits to simulate the universe in full detail. Now that we know how much data needs to be processed, the next step is to calculate how much energy would be required. This is done using the Landauer principle, as mentioned earlier. According to the paper, processing those 3.510 to the 124 bits would require approximately 8.910 to the 108 ergs of energy. But is that amount of energy even available in the universe? To find out, the authors calculate the total energy contained in the observable universe. First, they compute the volume using the standard formula for a sphere. Then, they multiply this volume by the critical mass density of the universe, which gives them an estimate of the universe's total mass. Finally, they convert this mass into energy using Einstein's famous formula, E equals mc squared. The result? Including all matter and radiation, the total energy in the observable universe is approximately 2.710 to the 78 ergs. And here comes the most striking point. The energy required to run the simulation is about 10 to the 30 times greater than the total energy in the universe. In other words, even if you turn the entire universe into a massive battery and plugged it into a computer, it still wouldn't be enough to simulate the universe itself. The conclusion of the paper is remarkably clear. The amount of information and energy needed to simulate our universe within another universe that follows the same physical laws is so immense that the scenario appears to be physically impossible. And it's not just about simulating the whole universe. Even simulating just the Earth at full resolution would require unimaginably vast resources. That's why the author argues that a matrix-like simulation could not be created within the boundaries of our own universe. So what's the final verdict? The laws of physics tell us that this universe is too real to be a simulation. But perhaps the most fascinating part is this. The paper shows that the scientific method, the power of physics, can be used to test even philosophical hypotheses like the simulation theory. Naturally, this raises a few important questions. First, what about quantum computers? Could their immense processing capabilities eventually overcome this energy barrier? But let's not forget, the universe expands by about 70 kilometers every second. So even if we improve our energy efficiency, the amount of data to simulate keeps increasing just as fast. The second question is this. What if the civilization running the simulation lives in a universe with far more energy than ours? But this undermines the core idea of the simulation hypothesis. According to Nick Bostrom, advanced civilizations would be motivated to simulate their own past or universe, not one that is bigger or smaller. Now, when we found a scientist courageous enough to include such a topic in his academic work, we reached out to Dr. Franco Vazza to ask if he had anything to add. He kindly responded with a truly inspiring message, and we thank him deeply. Dr. Vaza sends his greetings and adds, "What surprised me the most was the lack of serious effort to make this hypothesis a scientific question. In principle, we have many laws that can connect information, computational power, energy, entropy, and more. This paper is my attempt to put limits on the simulation hypothesis using physics and to go beyond the simplistic idea that computers will one day do anything. Of course, only a few versions of the simulation hypothesis can be tested here, especially those where the simulating universe obeys the same physical laws as ours, just like in a matrix, where we are simulated by ourselves or a future version of us. So science lovers, once again we've brought you a mind-bending paper. If you subscribe, like, and share our videos, you'll help us reach even more curious minds.